Pastor Miguel, this church went through some very difficult times during the 12-year-long Civil War, mostly because the church stood for the values of the kingdom, which include peace, justice, human rights, and the church suffered for that, we know. And I also know that in 1984, you were abducted by a death squad, and you were tortured. We were able to obtain your release, and you were exiled into Canada with your family. I believe it was after 3 years you decided to return here. Can you talk a little bit about how you discern God's will in your decision to return here, because it was still very dangerous for you to come back at the time that you did? So how did you discern that this was what God was calling you to do?
Barbara and brothers and sisters, this is a very sensitive issue that you are talking about. Pretty much for me. And let me say first that this country paid a high cost, a very high price for the peace. And the sad is that still this is not with us. We have peace accord, but we have no peace. So sad. I don't know you to remember the numbers of people, the official numbers. I think that those are more than those numbers. 75,000 people were killed. And more than 8,000 human beings, compatriots, were disappeared like leaves in autumn, in the fall. This church is also paid part of that price. We count 24 Baptist martyrs. And it's painful for us to remember that. But we have those also examples of martyrdom with Bishop Romero, with the 4 Catholic nuns, the Maryknoll nun sisters from the United States were killed. 6 Jesuit priests, beside 2 women, were killed in the Jesuit University. And this very small church is also have martyrs, and pretty soon we'll celebrate. This coming Sunday exactly will be 28th of October, when I was kidnapped by a death squad. I was disappeared for 2 days and then appeared at the National Police. At those days, I suffered the torture, and when our church, when Emmanuel negotiated with the military government, my right to stay in the country, they say, we are going to release this pastor, but we have to leave the country. Barbara, for us, exile was a very painful experience. It's an expression in English that said homeland. No.
Homeland?
Homesick.
Oh, you were homesick.
Homesick, sorry. Homesick.
Yeah.
And we were homesick. It was not in our plan as a family to go away from the country. And because we received, not myself, but also the family, the call to be servant of the gospel, servant of Jesus Christ, was very, very present in our heart, the desire to come back. And as soon this was possible, we come back, even the war still was going on. exactly a year after when we come back to the country, I was accused to the media, and the TV, radio, and the papers that I was totally involved and supporting the guerrilla movement. And everybody knows that I'm a pastor, I'm serving beside the church, the poors, and the victim of the war, and the victim of the human rights abuses, and preaching in favor to the justice, preaching against the war, against the human rights abuses. It still was pretty dangerous. But the call of God is so clear. And let me tell you something, in particular with experience to building houses. Because we have this small program building houses for the very poor people. For me was the most wonderful feast the day when we officially present the keys of the house to the families and being blessed by having a house. I remember that I had no place to stay with mom and my two brothers, my brother and sister, and we finally have a place with our aunt, and we sleep in the floor. Now we have no place to go. For me, it's a significant to work in this ministry with the church, with Emmanuel, serving those in need. That is what was so present in my heart to come back to El Salvador, to continue working and contributing to the sake of peace and justice. Yeah.
Ya. Entonces voy a hacer